Hi, my name is Jim Francis, and welcome to Millionaire Mind Code. Well, first, congratulations for making a wise decision to invest in yourself. It's very rare that I get an opportunity to spend time with people that really invest in themselves in terms of their mind and their millions, right? And I really believe that most people can get to what I call M2 status. And M2 status might stand for multi-millions, but M2 also stands for the millionaire mind. M2 also stands for the method and the mind. Because I can teach you a strategy, but if you don't believe that you can accomplish that strategy, you probably won't. I had a great mentor, a guy named Tony Robbins, and he used to talk about, strategies, action, and belief, right? And I kind of changed that a little bit to be what I call the cab to success. And I'm a little bit dyslexic, so I spell cab kind of funny. I spell it with a K, K-A-B. You have to have the knowledge, which is the strategies, the tactics, those kinds of things. You certainly have to have the action, right? Take the steps that are necessary. But you also have to have the beliefs. And what's crazy about making millions or investing in real estate or the stock market is there are certain beliefs that will empower you and there are certain beliefs that will hold you back, right? So let me just give you a couple of quick examples. In stock investing, you'll hear people say, well, I'm going to go big or go home. Well, that's the reason they blow up their account all the time. That's the reason that they make a lot of money and then they lose a lot of money, right? It's so much better, to have consistent, regular rates of return and high probability. So high probability trading is something you want to do in the stock market. And one of the belief systems shouldn't be, go big or go home. The belief system is I let my wins run long and I cut my losses short, right? In the real estate game, people will say, well, I have to have money to buy real estate or to make money. And I know that's not true. If you have the right knowledge, you can structure a deal without any cash. And in fact, when it comes to money, when it comes to millions, there are kind of three belief systems that kind of hold people back. Number one is I have to have money to make money. So what they do is they say, well, you know what I'll do is I'll save $5,000 or I'll save $50,000 and then I'll go do it. Well, they never save the 5,000 or the 50,000, so they never go do it. And it's the knowledge that you need, the mindset that you need, not necessarily the cash that you need to be successful. Then you hear another belief system that says, money will change you, right? And does it change you positively? No, for some reason it's going to change you negatively. I can tell you, if you have a lot of money, you can do a lot of good. I like writing a check to St. Jude's, right? I can write a lot more money if I have the millions as opposed to $10. Are you guys with me here? So we definitely want to start to break those belief systems and get rid of some of those belief systems. Heaven forbid you got the third one. The third one is money is the root of all evil, right? And as long as you believe money is the root of all evil, you're not going to have you're at a subconscious level. They're going to make sure you never get any money because you don't want to be that filthy, dirty, capitalistic, terrible person, that is taking advantage of other people. Jeez, where did that come from, right? It's a terrible misquote from the Bible, which says the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, my name is Jim Francis. I'm going to share with you some of the concepts and ideas that millionaires have. And I didn't create this myself. I created this through the benefit of others. In fact, in my life, I've had 50 plus millionaires and 2 billionaires as mentors. And whether I work for them or I paid them to consult, or whether I went to their workshops, or I spent time with them to learn their techniques and strategies, they all share with me great concepts and ideas. And it didn't matter where it was. It didn't matter whether it's personal development with Tony Robbins, or Brian Tracy, business with Brian Tracy. I consider Brian to be a friend. You'll kind of see that at the end of this session, or it was learning tactics and strategies for small business with Jim Rohn and leadership, or Stephen Pierce when it comes to the internet, or Tommy Hopkins when it comes to sales and influence, or real estate when it comes to, you guys like Dean Graziosi and James Smith and Russ Whitney and all those kinds of folks that helped me along the path with respect to building my own wealth plan. So I didn't create these things. I kind of borrowed them and learned them over time in different disciplines, and then did pretty well myself, which you'll kind of notice that at the end I'll kind of do a little plug for myself. But I want to share with you kind of these concepts and ideas about money, and kind of how to take your desire to be worth millions and turn it into a very believable, very real, very systematic, very much rule driven, guideline driven kind of mindset. And our belief systems about money are kind of weird, man. Like for example, you've got two gurus out there right now that say that debt is a terrible thing. And I kind of believe that consumer debt being that, buy a vacation or clothes that, you want to impress other people with, or, trinkets or toys that you don't really need. That's not the best thing to do with your credit cards or your credit, right? But, getting good credit and then buying a real estate property where it positive cash flows, that's one of the smartest decisions you can ever make, right? So you have to realize that there's constructive debt and destructive debt. And you want to make sure that you have constructive debt, right? It takes money to make money. No, it doesn't. It takes knowledge. If you have the right mindset and you have the right belief systems, the right knowledge, and you believe and you take action, you're going to be successful, right? And you need to learn about leverage. Leverage is a good thing. Many people will think, well, geez, I'm working for a living. I'm safe. I'm secure. I really don't believe that. I don't think that a job is safe. It's just over broke, right? If you lose your job, usually the average person, 3 to 6 months, they've dipped into all of their financial savings and they're in a tough spot. They might be in foreclosure, right? So you got to kind of start thinking about other things besides the job. And we'll talk about this a little bit when I talk about some of the things we're going to talk about, like putting assets at work as opposed to us being at work, right? So what we believe about, and it changes by discipline, by the way. So for example, stock traders, options traders, for example, have a different set of belief systems than people who are in the real estate game. So you kind of need to adopt the right belief system of the discipline that you're focusing on, to get to success, right? So we're going to talk about all these things. We're going to talk about stock beliefs. We're going to talk about real estate beliefs. We're going to talk about debt beliefs. We're going to talk about money beliefs. We're talking about, taxes and internet and asset protection and anything that really has to do with money, as we go through it. But I do kind of have a plan. Right? So my plan is to kind of walk you through about 20 different topics. And when I say 20 different topics, we're going to start with kind of what I believe is a fundamental piece, which is, getting some principles in our life that are success principles. And if we follow these success principles, we're highly likely to be successful in all disciplines, whether that's the job market, the real estate market, the stock market, whatever it might be. So we'll talk about some of those principles. And, on my wall, I've got 21 principles of success, and a few of them are in my plan. But I've been fortunate enough to spend time with 50 plus millionaires and 2 billionaires. So I have some others in my plan that don't match exactly with those. So I'm going to talk about principles of life. And I'm going to encourage you to, at the end of each of our sections, to kind of work out what you want to do or what you want to believe or what you should adopt, to be successful. You're going to spend a lot of time talking about men at work versus assets at work, right? Or women at work versus assets at work, and kind of working towards using debt, using money, using leverage to get cash flowing assets to kind of move forward. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about dealing with belief systems, right? So I spent a fair amount of time with Tony Robbins, spent a time with Brian Tracy and Ken Blanchard and several other great thinkers, and a lot of time on the NLP kind of circuit, and became an NLP trainer. So I understand how people come up with belief systems like, money's the root of all evil, or like debt is a bad thing. But I also understand how to change it, from a therapeutic standpoint. And I don't mean to do therapy with you, right? Certainly, I'm happy to do that. But what I'm really talking about is taking some of your negative beliefs and kind of getting rid of them or destroying them or limiting them, so that you have this world of possibility. You have this world of potential. You have the things that you're dreaming about, you believe you can achieve in life. So I'm going to talk about kind of the 5 ways to break a belief system or challenge a belief system, so that you start to empower yourself to not only believing that you can make money, but that you can be worth $1 million, and actually taking the steps and desire to actually do it. We'll also talk a little bit about what I call the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is when you think about long-term wealth, it comes in the form of cash flow growth, big hits, leverage, asset protection and taxes, and really education. Right? So we'll talk about the Wheel of Fortune, and we'll actually talk about things you can do in each of the areas, like cash flow or like growth, on the real estate side or on the stock side, to put you in a nice spot. And then I'm going to get right into some belief systems and some philosophies, or some guidelines, and actually some steps in real estate, stock, and business to get us onto the path. And it's not going to be as hard as you think it is, right? So you can actually start a very profitable little internet business making $600 a month positive cash flow pretty quickly, right? So, and I'll actually give you some steps. I mean, I'll give you some tools and some steps and some belief systems to kind of power you through to get you moving towards that success and moving towards what I call M2, multi-millions, or the method and the mindset. As this is going to happen, you're going to come across obstacles. As you come across obstacles, you're going to have negative thoughts. So I'm going to talk a little bit about programming. The mind's an incredible thing, but it didn't come with an instructional book. Fortunately for me, I had some great mentors that showed me the instructional book, right? There's kind of 18 ways people think, and if you understand how they think, then you can actually help them reprogram some of those thoughts. Now, I'm not going to reprogram you. I'm going to let you reprogram yourself in terms of negative thoughts, right? So one of my mentors used to talk about the positive replacement principle, right? A great way to condition your mind to look for the positive in life and not the negative. So we'll kind of do that. Of course, no course, no whatever would be complete without dreams, goals, and objectives, because this is the why we do things. I would suggest to you that if you have a big why, the result will come. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on dreams and goals, because this really isn't about dreams and goals. It's more about, action steps, method, mindset, belief systems, supporting. We have these things we want to do, but we have to have a supporting belief system to do it, the supporting affirmations to do it, those kinds of things. So I'm going to talk more about that than I am dreams and goals, but we certainly need to get a handle on that. I'm going to talk about a balanced approach to investing, or a balanced approach to life, which is not just putting all our money into the stock market. It is potentially, doing cash flow strategies like rental properties, or lease with option to buy, or seller financing, or a big deal like an assisted living facility where it throws off $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 cash every month, one deal, right? That you might be able to do with little money out of pocket because you get partners to do it with you. Right, so I'm going to talk about a balanced approach. And I'm going to talk about what I call the 80-20 rule. And what I mean by that is 80% of the results in life will come from 20% of the activities. A lot of us are doing stuff that interrupt or distract us focus-wise from achieving. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what my mentor shared with me in terms of getting rid of interruptions, about focus time, about doing more with less. What I mean by that is doing more with less time. Right, so it's a great little section we'll talk about. I'm going to talk about Money Mondays. Right, so I spent 8.5 years in a Fortune 500 company. When I spent time in the Fortune 500 companies, I would have to spend 50, 60 hours a week at work, and I would go in on Saturdays from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock or 3 or whatever. And then, Sunday was my day off, right? I did this for 8.5 years. So Sunday, about 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock, my mind would start turning to work the next day, right? And all the things I had to do and all those and Mondays became like oh my God, it's Monday, right? It's Friday night. I don't want to go, right? And how can I escape, right? So Mondays became pretty negative for me. So I had to kind of rewire my brain later in life to make money positive. And the way I did that is Money Mondays. So on Mondays, I think about money, and then I'll give you a series of activities that you can think about on Monday, but you can make it Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't care what it is. You can take a look at those activities to make sure that you're making money on Mondays or any day that you want to, right? In addition to whatever you're doing in terms of work, right? And hopefully over the next 5 years, move from working for a living to having those additional activities create wealth for you. We're also going to talk about real estate. We're talking about stock, we're talking about stock options, talk about Forex, we'll talk about 401ks, we'll talk about taxes, small business, we'll talk about intellectual property. I had the privilege and pleasure of spending time with Ken Blanchard. He's written, 17 business books, great leader, great business manager. I had a chance to go golfing with him at the in Toronto at one of the major golf courses, Board of Trade course actually, and there's three of us, and we had great conversations in between shooting and stuff like that. And then I got a chance to drive him to his hotel that night, kind of going back after playing golf, and he shared with me a relationship strategy, which I still do today. He also shared with me, his belief about intellectual property. And he really believes you should make money when you sleep, right? So you have to have some sort of asset or some sort of intellectual property you write once and pays you forever. It helped me get into ebooks and books and self-study programs and stuff of that nature, which has been great for me, right? We'll talk about tax strategies. Now, when I talk about tax strategies, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the small business strategies, some of the tax strategies we can write off. The great thing about business, small business, whether it's an LLC, C corp, or S corp, is you can write off some of your expenses, right? We can write off if we're a real estate investor, we can write off some trips to other places. If we're a local person, we may write off some of our meals or entertainment or our vehicle. So we'll talk about some of those rules and regs and where to find them and how to use them and those kinds of things. We'll also talk a little about getting started in business. Should you be a C corporation, an S corporation? We'll talk a little bit about asset protection. How do you hide just when you make a lot of money? And I always say AAA, assets attract attention. Assets attract attention. So you want to make sure that you've got some privacy tools or understand how a structure like an LLC or a B or a C corp or an S corp are structured so that you can kind of be private and people don't know that you're there. I'll talk about the matrix. The matrix to me is 40 plus strategies: cash flow, growth, speculation, and also tax and asset protection, which kind of put us on the path to success. It won't be as much belief system work there as it is planning for our future and moving forward. I'll talk about internet, right? I'll talk about how to get started with the internet with intellectual properties or domain names or maybe Amazon or eBay or things of that nature, but give you some basics in terms of how to set it up, how to do an affiliate program or to tap into an affiliate program. Wrap it all together in terms of financial strategies and give you a basic plan kind of moving forward. And if I get a chance, I'm going to cut a bonus module. Now, this bonus module is a little special. It is not about belief systems. It's not about, strategies. It is a relaxation meditation piece, which allows us to take some of the belief systems and do affirmations and start thinking about some of our goals and dreams and kind of program our subconscious, right? Because we definitely want to program our subconscious for success. So those are kind of the things that we're going to be covering over the next little while. And I really believe, you kind of have to have a plan for your future and work your plan, right? So I don't know what your big dreams and goals are, but that's probably going to drive you more than anything, whether it's giving to your family, whether it's creating a legacy that you pass on for generations, whether it's creating a business, that's going to be there for the next 50 or 100 years, whether it's traveling the world and enjoying life, right? I really do believe that people have to have a dreams list. And I wrote 168 dreams when I was with Tony Robbins, 31 odd years ago, right? And I've lived 163 of them now. It used to be 161, but it's 163. One of those was I wanted to go on a safari, and this year I actually went on a 3-day safari and saw the giraffes and the wild dogs and all of hippos, rhinos, lions. I saw a lion kill. I mean, it was unbelievable, right? It was a great 3 days. But whether it's traveling the world, doing things that other people aren't doing, if you do what other people won't today, you'll have what other people don't have in the future.